everyone, just I'm out for a walk with my little bow, and just having loads of thoughts and ideas. This one's going to be about if you want to find your soulmate, let's say soulmate, or you want to have a relationship with a man or a woman, you want to attract the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever, but a relationship, yeah. And my thoughts on this are fundamentally it's like the more hungry you are for a relationship, really, like the more hungry you are for someone to love you, is a kind of direct correlation to how much you love yourself. So someone who is not interested at all, let's say someone's in a coffee shop, my experience, let's say I see a lady and she's constantly looking around at men to see if they're looking, that comes across as needy. So she's needy for it, like to be seen, and needy for recognition, needy for love. She's unattractive. I mean, for some it might be attractive, but that's usually a sign that that person also is needy. So the person who's completely full of love for themselves, which is very, very rare, they don't look around, they don't need it, they're not hungry, they're not needing men to look at them or women to look at them. So pick-up artists, let's say, the guys that really just go around all the time trying to pick up women, they're just deeply, deeply in love with themselves, and they're desperate for recognition, and so it's an ego thing. And it's just going over this bridge. And so if you want to find your soulmate, or if you want to be more attractive to people, you have to be attractive to yourself. Okay, and how do you do that? Well, I kind of look at it like my inner Rob, and it's not so much my inner Rob at my age, which is, hang on a second, just cross the road and it's a red light. There we go. It's not hang on, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so it's not Rob at my age, it's more Rob who's probably about 10 or 8, it could be 5, you kind of, some people, they like, when I work with them, they say, actually it's not a particular age, it's sort of my teenage person, So when I think about that young Rob, that's usually the one I'm want to have a better relationship with, not trying to suppress it, or I just want to accept everything about that Rob. So when, let's say I'm walking along, let's say in relationship, and go, I'm worried I'll never meet anyone. Well, that's almost like my little Rob saying, big Rob, I'm worried. So I could go, no, it's going to be fine, and use my logic to, make that little Rob feel better. But you just got to love that, that you say, I love that I'm worried I won't ever meet anyone. I love that I'm scared about talking to, go this way. I'm at the beach now. So, so really what you need to do is, number one, is fall in love with yourself, or rise in love with yourself. Yeah. And when you do that, it's just inevitable that the more you love yourself, the more you'll attract attention, because it's so attractive. And when you really love yourself and you accept yourself, then you'll meet your soulmate. Yeah. So again, the way to do that is love everything, all your emotions. So you might think you're unattractive, let's say. Well, that's going to bring up an emotion. It's difficult to say, I love that I'm unattractive. Yeah, so what you're going to do is, you're going to say, let me think, if I thought I was unattractive, it would be sad, disappointed and all the, so you go, I love that I'm sad, that I think I'm unattractive, or that I'm unattractive. So you just accept it. And so what you're really doing is giving yourself a massive hug, and not suppressing, repressing, or shutting down any emotion. And so kind of you can use it's like an intention is when your little one says to you, I'm worried, I'm scared, I'm sad, you don't go and just say, oh, it's fine, or be quiet, which is how we were brought up. You want to, I was just wondering if my little one's fallen asleep. No, you just want to go, it's okay, I love you, to your little one. And that might to some sound weird, and if you do find that weird and you're a bit scared by that, or your logical mind go, oh, that's bullshit, which is really you're scared, then that usually means you don't love yourself and you don't know what it is. Now, here's another trick, here's another cool thing. If you want to know if you love yourself, look at your past relationships. So I did this with a lady yesterday, and I said, let's look at your past relationships. And so her previous one was someone who is deeply helpless and hopeless, and she was trying to help him all the time. So it really wasn't a relationship, it was more she was taking care of him. And then the relationship before with a narcissist, and a relationship before with someone who didn't love themselves. So when I say, well, it's obvious, right, that there's this kind of love that you do that's not really, you're not receiving, you're just giving. And she was as she surprised me how logical she was. Her intelligence came in. She said, yeah, well, I said, yeah, but how do you feel? Like, what's the emotion? So we both realized that there was quite a lot of emotional suppression. And she realized that actually what she thought was loving herself wasn't. And then we talked about her parents. I don't think her parents, I think they gave her to the grandparents to look after and love. So she was very close with her grandparents. But, that's another red flag for her, that her parents couldn't love her, right? So you look at your past relationships. I kind of did it for myself, and I look at mine, and it was often with women who didn't love themselves. Yeah, and so again, that tells me something. It's always an equal. So the amount I love myself, I will attract someone who loves themselves equally to that amount. So if you want to find your soulmate is you. Your soulmate's that inner relationship, that inner child relationship. And the stronger that gets and the more love there is there, it's just inevitable that you attract someone equal. Yeah, and you're gonna also find that it massively translates into different areas of your life. How much you value yourself, money, so relationships, your career, your creativity, and people just being nice to you. And it's incredible. It's really changed me since I've started doing a lot of this work, and I've also found that I've become more aware of behaviors I didn't realize that I had. And once you become aware of them, you can set yourself free from them, because these behaviors imprison us. Yeah, and another cool trick is if you have no joy in your life and you're bored and you distract yourself with social media and say investing or pickup or whatever, then or alcohol or drugs, that's a direct correlation to how much you love yourself. Yeah, it's easy, it's so obvious. So what do you need to do? You only need to do one thing. If you want to find a relationship, love yourself. If you want to get a better job, focus on you're in a relationship and love. Just any time an emotion comes up that you're like, oh, I'm worried, I'm talking, I'm going to make this up because I don't believe it. I'm worried that I'm not explaining this well. Maybe I'm not, but I'm okay. I'm doing my best. But I love that I'm worried that I'm not explaining this well. Or with this kind of COVID situation, there's a lot of uncertainty, and I'm kind of worried about a little bit about where it's going to go, the narrative, if I'm able to travel in the future. I'm worried about that. It's okay. I love that I'm worried about that. It's okay. So that's my inner dialogue. It's a real loving inner dialogue. And again, the more you love yourself, the more you're going to attract a soulmate, or someone who loves you fully for who you are and accepts you for what you are, which is priceless. That's your relationship with someone is fundamentally the biggest investment you can make, because you're going to spend the rest of your life with them. And it can be empowering and expand you, or it can be a horrible experience teaching you something about you know, that you need to love yourself more. So on that note, there's a few things there to go away and work on. This is gold. This is absolutely priceless. And yeah, I'll be talking more about it in the future. All right, have a great rest of the day, everyone. And if you like this, please like and subscribe to my channel. That really helps me, and I appreciate it. Cheers.